I'll tell you what, man. When you were doing that video of trying to transform the MP-44, dude, there was a point where I almost had a stroke at the one part where I think you were trying to pull apart one of the leg pieces, and it looked like you were putting some pressure in it, and then all of a sudden it just went, and it came out like it's supposed to, but it made like a loud noise, and I was just like, oh no! I thought you broke it at first.
Dude, I was sweating bullets. Okay, so if anyone knows me, they know I don't like the transformer toys. If I get something and it's in robot mode, it's gonna stay in robot mode forever, right? But he came in a truck mode, so I was like, I gotta do it. And you know what? I'm gonna be brave. I'm gonna do it live. And I gotta tell you, oh my gosh! Like there's pieces the size, about maybe half the size of a penny, that you have to take and rotate and pull over like this. And it's literally wafer thin, and it's got so much tension on it. Imagine doing that about 50 times during the transformation. That's the transformation. There's whole parts that come out and flop down, and then fold, and then fold on itself. And that's just the leg. And the leg has to go in a certain angle to pop in.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh my god.
It's really crazy, and I have like, I don't want to be like negative about MP-44 because I think it looks like a crazy engineered toy. I just think some of the stuff I don't like about it, and one of the things is when I see like all those panels that fold into the leg, and then you have to kind of squeeze the leg together. I always see a lot of pics where it looks like say this is the leg, where it kind of looks like bowed out a little bit in the top, like it doesn't snap in right, or it's maybe because you have to get everything in here so meticulously right that to do that, to make it straight, it seems like really hard.
I agree, it's super hard, but at the same time, it's not. It's like some of the third-party toys I bought are complicated like that, and stuff is just rubbing, and you're like, ah. But the honest truth is, MP-44, even though he's like that, everything fits in perfectly. Because when I first saw pictures, I saw what you're talking about, the gaps in the legs. I was like, oh my god, it's horrible.
And that could just be people not doing it right too.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm ham-fisted when it comes to transforming stuff, and I was able to do it. And if you look at his legs now that I built it, the sides, everything, all the panels line up perfectly. Everything, what do they call that? But the tolerances, there you go, the tolerances, everything is just perfect. Everything just fits exactly what it should be. At no point did I feel like I was going to break it, but I know it can be broken easily. It feels like you put so much effort into precision that it just made it more difficult than it needed to be. But at the same time, I wasn't sitting there trying to fit all these panels together,
right?
Because it just fit right. And I do feel that they over-engineered a little bit, but then they had to differentiate it from everybody else, though, and I think that's why they did it.
I feel like they had to take away. Like I was just thinking the same thing. Like, man, why couldn't they just have like the top part be the top part and not go in the legs? But I guess if they're taking away the side panels from the cab back into the legs, it lightens up the chest for more room for articulation and stuff like that. So it's you're taking away some of the sides, and
you know what, that makes a lot of sense. And there's not an ounce of die cast on him, but he is rock solid.
Yeah.
You look at photos, you look like he's gonna fall apart. And see videos where people are like, oh my gosh, it's gonna burst. I did that same thing, and it's rock solid. Once you snap it all together and it's fine, I mean, it almost feels like it's just an action figure. Forget that it transforms and it's complicated.
Right.
Honestly, it feels as solid as Starscream. I mean, it's so well built and solid, but yet it's completely hollow and comes apart in a million pieces. But yet, it's sturdy, and I was shocked that wow, I've transformed my fair share that were complicated, and once you transform it, they're a wobbly mess. But somehow they were able to make it to where not only did I lose no paint or scratch anything on it, but it just came together, and in person it looks fantastic. It's one of those toys where you can take a million pictures and videos and it'll never do it justice.
I'm not gonna. I had like I said, I have a couple issues with it, and it's nothing that I think is like it's terrible or nothing. But the price was a little like I think that it was a little overpriced and shit like that. But I mean, that is what it is. They're gonna try and make as much money as they can. That's just commerce, you know.
Right.
I
I
think
agree.
it's aesthetically seeing all three of the Magic Square, the Transform Element, and the MP-44 lined up next to each other. When I look at each one of them, and I really think that the Magic Square to me looks. I know the MP-44 is tune accurate, but as some people point out, tune accuracy doesn't always mean it's the best look. That cartoon was full of
Oh
shitty
yeah.
animation, you know. And I like the Magic Square. It seems like he's like a little like beefier and like in the upper area. Like he seems more like just like a thicker out, like I guess more like the Dreamwave or IDW Optimus, where he was like kind of bigger. And
Right. Right.
I like
Yeah.
that aesthetic a little more.
I mean, it was funny. I saw pictures of it too, and didn't think that great of it. But when you put them all three together, it's like they're all good. I have a TE01 myself. I've seen MS in person. I obviously have MP-44. You know, one thing I gotta say is all three of them are great. They're all great, and I think all three are better than the other Optimus Primes that we have. Toy World ones, even MP-10. MP-10 looks dated to me now, but
Oh,
these new,
100% it does.
yeah,
Yeah.
but these three new ones, all three are great. Um, I want to get the Magic Square one. They're all great. They're all amazing. I can't take anything away from the three. My only gripe is it's the same gripe as yours. Is it worth what they're asking, even from Amazon? I gotta say no. I gotta say the other items that come with it aren't great. Carly little figures, they're okay. They're all okay. The trailer itself, it's pretty cool. But when Optimus Prime becomes a Optimus Prime, what happens to the trailer? It's
That
gone.
trailers for display purposes only, basically.
Right. And
Yeah.
so,
I'm with you on that.
yeah,
Like all those accessories and gimmicks, like I could do without. I don't need the. I mean, the backpack's a cool idea, but I don't need it. I don't need the Starscream head. I don't. It's just. I guess the little humans are cool to have,
yeah.
just for each one to represent a character in the show. I thought it was a nice touch that they didn't they somebody say there's like metal in the trailer or something, and then the little pieces have magnets in them, and you can.
Yes, it's very Diaclone where like these magnets
Yeah,
can
yeah,
stand
yeah.
stuff up, and it feels. Don't get me wrong, the paint is amazing. It feels great. It looks great. It's got heft. It's not gonna flex on you. Everything is top notch. I mean, the characters are kind of meh, but like the trailer itself, top notch. Everything feels like it was made to last, and it feels like it was made to be played with. I wouldn't let any kids play with it, but you know what I mean. It's sturdy. The toy itself feels sturdy, but I could have. I think they could have kept it at the Megatron MP-36 price point or the price point of the Dino Megatron. I think they could have done that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a little, even for me, it's a little excessive. I think what they're asking.
I feel like some part of that was probably going to the Peter Cullen voice contract, whatever they had with that. If I had to pay him,
I never pushed a button. And you mentioned backpacks earlier. That's for me, what really hurts the figure the most is that backpack.
really,
You know,
backpacks never
the
really
side
bother
view.
me unless they're, if they're like outrageous and outlandish, then that's a problem.
Yeah,
But backpacks to
side
me,
view
like,
though.
yeah. But somebody pointed out to me actually that if you look at the backpack from MP10 and the backpack from MP44, it's actually if you look at it from the side profile, it's the same size. It just looks bigger because when you look at it from the back, it's got a longer width. But
I
it's apparently the same. It sticks out the same size. I haven't seen any
Yeah,
comparison
I
pictures,
think
but
it's close, but because it's more squared off versus MP10 is more of a taper. To me, it looks a lot smaller. I mean, I've looked at them a lot, but from the back it looks fine. But if you do the side view, it just adds a lot of heft that you don't see in the cartoon. And honestly, I think that is the weakest part of it. But it's not a deal breaker. I don't display my toys facing away from me.
yeah, that's why you can usually forgive backpacks and back kibble that you only see from the back. Um, so as far as the price point went, I always thought of it like this. Like, and I would ask a couple people, like, and again, like, it is what it is. I can't dictate what Takara is gonna
Right.
put as their price. So I would think of it like people were saying a lot of that price was from the accessories, but I was like, if you bought that MP-44 as just the cab with no other accessories, how much would you spend on it? And most people were like, well, no more than like $150 or $200 or at the most MP 36, which was what, 250.
Yeah, that's the price point, I think.
Right.
If this was at 240, forget the other characters. I always want his gun, his axe, and prime.
And so how much was the entire thing? It was 400 or 450?
Amazon
So
was
US price was what, 400 or 450?
I think it was supposed to be 440.
Yeah, so if you're saying that not me, you specifically, but if you're saying that you would spend $250 on just the cab, so that means you're saying that you're fine spending $200 on all those accessories, which that seems a little crazy to me.
No, well, see, I didn't pay that retail. I paid the Amazon GP.
Well, that's like the dirty little secret that some people need to start getting in on too. Is
right.
That,
I mean,
the Japanese prices, because
it was like 340. You know, it was like 355 shipped. And the second set I bought was like 320, something like that. I mean, it was a lot less. And even then, it was still like, you know, cause if you try to be sensible, which none of this is sensible, right? These are masterpiece figures. But if you take T01 and you put them next to MP10, without transforming, just go side by side, and you look at the price difference, you can't justify MP10. I did it again. MP-44. You cannot justify. If you just look at side by side, no transformation, it's one after the other. There's no way you can justify it. Never. I don't care about articulation, the amazing, perfect paint. No way you can justify it. But the moment you transform it, the moment you do these crazy poses that shouldn't even be possible, the moment you see his wrist actually have their own swivel and it stays, you then realize, okay, I see where this went. I see where the money went. But at the same time, I'm like, that's so much a go-thing price. That's a car payment. You know, it starts to, you know, how many Fans Toys Dinobots can I get for this? 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So at the same time, you know, and it's like, is it worth it? Not really. Even as a hardcore collector, right? To me, it still isn't worth it. And one of the main reasons why I got so many was because I knew there would be people I know that would want it and they wouldn't pre-order it. And so I bought a bunch of them and said, hey, you know what? Pay me whatever I paid plus cost and it's yours. But I'm still going to play with it first. I'm still going to look at it. I'm still going to have my pictures. And I think that's why I did it. And, you know, before this week is over, or before next week's over, I won't have any.
There you go. Well, next week at some point, I gotta run over to Mike Kincaid's house. He's got some stuff at his. They do the podcast over there, right. And anytime Levy or like Jed or somebody has something for me, they just drop it off there. So he's like my hub for buying stuff off local people. So I gotta run over there and pick up some shit. And he has. Actually, you know what, though? I don't know if he's taking his out of the box. I was going to say I was going to use that as an opportunity to check it out in hand, but I think he might be keeping his boxed up. So maybe, I get to see the box at least.
It might be for the best. It might be for the best. Because when you see it in person and you see the paint, you look at the picture, you're like, they didn't paint the wipers, there's no stripes, it lacks detail. But when you see it in person,
the stripe is too inaccurate, though. I don't like the look of that no stripe either. But the stripe that's why they didn't do that stripe, right? Because
that's what I've heard,
yeah.
And that's true. That's true. I was fighting it the whole time. I'm like, every other one has this stripe, but I got over it, you know. And to be honest, truck mode is it's horrible. To be honest, the front looks great.
What serial killers keeping their MP-44 in truck mode though?
No, when you do open it though, like I said, when it's in robot mode, it's cool. You know, despite all the naysayers and doom and gloomers, you know, like I said, I'm very poor at transforming stuff. I've broken several things, including
I have big old sausage fingers,
right?
Man. Same thing.
And somehow I went without a hitch. And I always like to say this: if I can do it, anybody can. I literally broke Shuriken twice in 2 different parts while I was transforming him.
That sucks.
So I know what it's like to break something, and this needed. If you're really gonna break this thing, you have to put force where it shouldn't be. Really, that's what I think.